Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Week 18 upsets to bet, and we've went big on these all year. Let's get this money, and thank you for following me. Let's get to the first game. We got the Washington no-names at the Dallas Cowboys. Commanders are minus 4.5. I know you're probably saying, Lawson, but you picked the Commanders as a money pick on Tuesday's show. We're going to go different here. We're going to bring that Commanders minus 4.5, and we're going to bring it to minus 13.5. You remember when we did this with Tampa against the Chargers? This 13.5 is valued at plus 300. Now, let me explain myself. It is a long shot. I get it. Is it a little bit degen? I get it. But let's be honest. Everyone's going to be degen betting a little bit on week 18. So let me go through this scenario and why I think the Commanders can cover minus 13.5. Firstly, I trust this Commanders offense. I got in on them on the ground floor. Have they disappointed us a little bit? Yes. But I do feel like ever since Jaden Daniels got healthy after that rib injury, like look at the last 5-6 weeks. He's playing better. He's throwing better. But most importantly, he's been running the rock really well. And he's been running it at a high rate. If you've been following the Player Prop show, you know what we're talking about. And I do wonder how much this Cowboys defense has left to give. I do think they're very, very good at rushing the passer. They've been better than I thought at stopping the run. But at a certain point, the secondary is hanging on. They're completely getting beaten and whooped. And without Micah Parsons completely taking over the game, how are they going to get stops on this Commanders offense? And there has to be a little bit of revenge factor for the Commanders after what happened in Washington, D.C., maybe 5-6 weeks ago. Now let's get to the other side of the ball, and this is why I love the 13.5. When you think of the Cowboys offense, what do you think of? You think of CeeDee Lamb, obviously. He's been an absolute juggernaut this year, maybe the best wide receiver in this league. He's not going to play. So you're looking at Tolbert. You're looking at Brandon Cooks. You're looking at Jonathan Mingo, maybe the worst receiver I've ever seen in this game. And you do wonder, okay, the Cowboys are running the ball better. Washington isn't great against the run. I don't think Dowdle going off or the Cowboys offensive line winning battles is enough. And this Commanders defense has been well improved the second half of the year. I'm just not seeing a path forward. And you look at Cooper Rush, and I know he's made me look bad on some occasions, but everything is out in a second. And it looks good when CeeDee Lamb breaks 5-6 tackles and takes it 70 yards, but he's not walking on that field on Sunday. And you do think, what is the Cowboys' motivation level? Without a big play from CeeDee Lamb, can they move the ball consistently on offense? I don't think so. I think this is a really bad spot. And the last and final opinion on this game, I'm not sure this isn't a Trey Lance game. Like, we haven't heard any rumblings. I don't have any inside information. But I think this is a game where we see Trey Lance get some run. And we saw what happened against the Eagles, how bad it was. We saw what happened in preseason when he threw 5 interceptions in a preseason game. I just think this is a terrible spot for the Cowboys. And if they get down early and they have to throw the ball and they have to throw it down the field, their offensive line can't hold up from a pass blocking perspective. If the game script goes right, the Commanders can win this by more than 20 points. Commanders need the game. They need the seeding, and they're going to go hard and full bore. Give me the Commanders minus 13.5 at plus 300. Next game, we got the Seattle Seahawks at the Los Angeles Rams. Rams plus 6. I get it. The Rams are not playing Stafford. They're going to play Garoppolo. And obviously the Seahawks want to finish the season strong. But I don't you guys think there's just nothing for the Seahawks left to play for. Don't you think Geno's big injury he suffered against the Packers and that good performance he put up against the Vikings was a little bit of a last stand? And the Seahawks have been very good on defense the second half of the year. But this is why I'm going Rams money line. I think Rams can win this game. And I honestly think the Rams need to win this game because if they get Detroit or Minnesota in round one, they can get the game at home, but they're going to be sent packing. That's just going to happen. The Rams are not playing good football right now, and I'm not sure how many backups we see. Obviously, I don't think we're going to see Kyren Williams. I don't think we're going to see a lot of Nakua and Kupp, but I do like Blake Corum in this spot, and we need to remember they're going to have their first-string offensive line. They're going to play a lot of those guys. And if you look at their defense, I know the linebackers stink, but you go to the backups at the linebacker position, that's not going to be much of a drop-off. This Rams defense substitutes and uses a lot of bodies. I think their defense is, I'm not going to say it's going to be full strength, but I think we see a lot of guys. I think we're going to see Verse, Fisk, and if that defensive line can get up against the Hawks offensive line, we saw what happened before. Now, the last opinion on this game, it is a huge long shot. I get it. But we've seen Sean McVay win games with backup quarterbacks before. We've seen him win games with Carson Wentz. We saw him win games with Baker Mayfield off the street with 4 days practice. I would not put this past him, and maybe I was a little bit dramatic on Tuesday's show. I think Jimmy G is better than guys like Gardner Minshew, for instance, and I think that gives the Rams a puncher's chance. I'm just not sure how motivated the Seahawks are in this game. That's why I'm going Rams money line. Obviously, this is risky, and obviously, I feel better about the Commanders minus 13.5, even though the price is better on the Rams. I think the Vikings win the game outright against Detroit, but I'm doing a separate video for that. And make sure you watch that video. We're going to have some good props in place. Last game, we got the Jacksonville Jags at the Indianapolis Colts. Jags +5. I think the Jags win the game, and obviously when you talk about draft position, that comes in here. And when you talk about the Jags, obviously they're a poor team. But one reason why we had the Giants +3.5 on this list last week is because the Colts aren't a great team themselves. And my preseason power ranking of them, I had them between 24 and 28. That's where I think this team is. And if we get Anthony Richardson, I do think that gives the Colts a better chance to win. But the litany of problems the Colts have is almost deeper than him. They can run the football well, but one thing the Jags defense does well is they stop the run. And everyone said, oh, let's bet the Titans against the Jags. And I told you guys, Jags still want to win, and they're not quitting as much as everyone thinks. Obviously, the Colts should win this game, but I don't think Mac Jones is the worst quarterback in this matchup. I will repeat, I don't think Mac Jones is the worst quarterback in this matchup. I think the Jags will be able to move the ball on the Colts defense. The Colts defense has been an absolute monstrosity the last 4 or 5 weeks. Drew Lock took them to the back room and beat them like a redhead stepchild. I think Mac Jones can do some work here. I think the Jags will be up and down the field. And if you had to give me a defense, Jags or Colts, I'm going Jags. It's bad when we're talking about the Jags in depth, but it's important. We have to bet all 32. We have to engage with these teams. Now, the reason why I said I think the Colts are better with Anthony Richardson over Flacco is because I think their run game is better with him in there. He's got a disc problem in his back. So if he goes out there, I don't know how long he's going to last. I don't know how well they're going to run it. And then if we see Flacco, the same issues with the Colts roster construction are going to come up. The wide receivers can't create separation. I've been saying for the last 3 years, Michael Pittman is the most overrated 1 or 2 receiver in the league. No one can create separation. No one can catch the ball. This offensive line, there's a lot of money splashed in it. Yes, they can run the ball, but they can't pass block. I think the Jags have a day. I think this is the upset Jags money line. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share the videos. The best gambling show on the internet. Slam that like button. Share the videos. Listen, you guys got to turn into that Vikings-Lions video. The props are going to be fuego.